So one day I googled my net worth and it turns out I was a multi-millionaire. I was so shocked and happy. I could finally really start to enjoy life with no boundaries. Money was no object for a guy like me. I even went to Starbucks.
Hey there, welcome to Starbucks.
And paid $7 for this pink drink. And I still had $29,399,993. So I had an idea. Buy some friends.
Yo, be my friend.
Okay. I was so excited that I took my new best friend to go buy this Tesla. It was a really nice car and he was so happy. Then I went to check my bank and I realized I wasn't a millionaire. It's rubber band ball part 94 and we're going to add 50 more pounds or 2 more boxes of rubber band. The ball is currently 1,300 pounds and a long way from the world record. We got to it, looping all these bands as usual into 2 big piles. Here was the rubber band ball in all its awesomeness and then we just kept on wrapping the bands around the ball like this. And in not too long, bam, 50 pounds was added onto the ball and it's just completely massive. And at 1,350 pounds, it was pretty hard for me or my friend Brendan to push it. Kind of dangerous rolling, and be sure to give a like on this video if you want me to keep on going. So one day, after 2 years of taking this tiny rubber band ball that grew really big to the pawn shop guy to see what it would give me and a bunch of other random stuff that most of the time didn't work out, I'm here to surprise the pawn guy with his very own tiny rubber band ball to pawn. This is how he reacted.
What's up, Dylan?
I have a new ball.
It's a nice little round ball.
I'm not trying to sell it or sell anything.
Really? What brings you in then?
Just wanted to give you this ball.
Sweet.
A gift and a thank you for being in all my videos.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Yeah, so you can
Appreciate
put
it.
it on one of these shelves and try to sell it. I then told him I wanted him to try to pawn it and see how much he could get for it.
How much you think you want to get out of it? How about $99.99? Let's find a spot to put
And
it.
he actually had the perfect spot for it. Follow along to see how much it goes for. Full vid, link in bio. So one day someone commented saying I should run over the eggs on the purple mattress to see if that would crush them. So now I gotta try it. My brother pulled the truck up and then I did a quick fall test to see how that would do. None of the eggs broke until I let them roll off. But now it was time to see if they could survive the truck. The tire went over the eggs cleanly and we couldn't see anything yet until he pulled off, and yeah. Comment any other ideas. So one day I wanted to build one of these air cannons that I kept seeing on videos. So I went to Walmart and got a trash can, a tarp, an elastic band, and some tape, and then I left. And I also ordered this humidifier on Amazon. It was pretty cool. I tested it out and then I got to work building the air cannon. Putting the tarp over the hole, then putting this thingy on, and then I realized I did it completely backwards, so I had to redo it until it looked like this. And it was decently powerful and ready for the fog. I put it in there and it made these awesome rings that went really far. It was so cool. They just went forever and ever. I shot over this can and then shot the camera like this. Then shot my rubber band ball myself like this, and then started shooting the ceiling. Let me know what else I should try. So one day I went to my local gas station to make the weirdest, wockiest looking slush in the world. I had blue, red, Mountain Dew, and a splash of Coke slushy. Then I bought some candy like this and went home. I also decided to add some orange juice and some Sour Head Bang to the mix. I poured the Bang, then the orange juice, splashed the candy in like this, and started mixing. I stirred it for a little bit, but I wanted to get really shook up, so I poured it in this shaker bottle. I then just started vigorously shaking it all over, right here and then here, until it looked like this. I dropped a Minto in and then gave it a taste, and it was pretty weird. I let it sit overnight in the fridge and tasted it again. It was even more potent. So one day I saw a thing where bar soap reacts really weird in the microwave. So I bought a bunch of different soap brands to microwave them all and see what they do. I put the first one in and let it go. It wasn't really doing anything, and then it just kind of melted it and smelled really bad. It was pretty melted, so then I switched to this soap and did one of those old satisfying brick things with it. I put it in the microwave and it eventually started foaming up a little bit and looked like this. And it was also really soft and squishy. And next was the ivory soap, which was supposedly the best. It spun around, fell over, and then started to expand like this. And it felt really soft like a tissue. I then just put all the soap I had left in the microwave to see what that would do. And all the white soap expanded the most and it looked like this and it was really squishy. But it wasn't enough, so I microwaved it even longer and it expanded like this. Whoa. So one day it was super windy, so I decided to take my hamster ball out on the lake. I was going to have to walk across this bridge to get to my launching point. I went until I got to the bridge, walking in my hamster ball. Yeah, pretty cool. Then I walked across and made it to the water. I just rolled into the water like this, and I was hoping because of how windy it was, it would just push me all the way to the other shore where I needed to be. I waved hi to my brother, and it was really cool in there. I tried to look for fishies underwater. And it perfectly worked. I floated to the other side until I reached the end of my journey. But it wasn't over yet, because I wanted to try one more time, but this time something interesting happened. I encountered a Karen. She came out of nowhere and then came up to me and said something, but I didn't even hear her, so I said, "What?" But no worries. She eventually wandered off into Karen land and I continued on my journey, making it all the way across. So it's rubber band ball part 95, and this ball weighs 1,350 pounds. We had it outside and had to push it all the way inside, which was really hard, and then we dumped out all these bands to place. My friend Brennan did one pile of 25 pounds, and I did the other pile of 25 pounds, and we just looped them all together until we had two giant strands of bands that we wrapped completely around the ball like this. Another 50 pounds like that. The ball is now 1,400 pounds. Be sure to give this a like for me to beat the world record. So this is my rubber band ball, and here's the world record. My ball is currently 1,400 pounds and a long way from the record at 9,000 pounds, but we looped all these bands, 50 pounds to be exact, until it was finished, and then we were ready to place them on the ball to get it one step closer to the world record. And just by leaving a like on this video, you can help aid in the journey to beating the world record. Here I am rolling and then falling off the ball like this, and here's the ball in all of its awesomeness.
So one day I had a ton of waterproof spray and I was going to make myself completely waterproof. I bought a bunch of clothes, this shirt, this swimsuit, and this sponge to test it all out. To turn myself completely waterproof. Starting with these shoes, I sprayed them all over completely until they were completely covered. Then this shirt, which I completely covered as well, and this swimsuit, you can see how it got like all wet. And this Scrub Daddy as well. And it needs 24 hours to dry, so come back tomorrow to see me test it all out.
So one day I let this penny decide if I would spend my $40 at Target if it lands on heads, or the dollar store if it landed on tails. It fell to the ground and landed on tails. The dollar store. The goal was to get the most bang for my buck and get like 40 items, but everything was way more than $1. I got silly string, a punching bag, the star balloon, a phone magnifier, this bubble gun, and the Sour Patch. And now it was time to test out my purchases. The Sour Patch was really good. Then I got out the silly string, sprayed it all over the wall and my brother. Then I tried to spray it all on the ceiling and it fell down. I was like, what? I hit the star balloon, blew up this punching bag, hit it too pretty hard. Then got out the phone magnifier, which actually worked surprisingly well. I could actually see my phone way bigger. And I saved the best for last, this bubble gun.
So one day someone commented saying I should try to crush an old Nokia phone with my 1,200 pound rubber band ball. And I'm going to be doing this and testing the durability of a lot of older phones. And this slightly newer Nokia as well. We did a drop test with these two phones first and threw them like this and dropped a rubber band ball on them. And even rolled a giant rubber band ball on one of them and stuck it inside the rubber band ball as well. But now it's time to test the two Nokias. We did a basic drop test and the older Nokia held up the best. But now it was time to crush it. I could hear the crunch and it rolled onto the Nokia. But it honestly didn't even do that much damage. So I dropped a brick on it like this, and then dropped it on it again, and it was pretty destroyed. Comment what else I should try.
So one day people were commenting saying my over 1,400 pound rubber band ball is boring now because it can barely move. But at the end of the video, this ball will be over 1,500 pounds and I'm going to prove that we can still move it by knocking down a bunch of bowling pins. We finished looping all 50 pounds of bands and then placed it perfectly on the ball like this. And then it was time to set up these pins. I set them up, tested them out, and then set them up again for the rubber band ball. And the ball can roll with a lot of effort, but it's really hard to get it to go where you want it. We eventually knocked over a bunch of pins and then crushed this pin like this. So comment if I should keep the series alive.
So one day I took my $177 moon shoes that are supposed to make you jump really high, and I tried to play basketball with them. I wanted to test if they could make me a better basketball player, and here's me jumping off the rubber band ball and falling. So then I took them to a gym, and it didn't start off very good. I kept missing like this, but I decided anyway to challenge the tallest guy in there to a 1v1. I missed my first shot, but so did he, so it's okay. The only real advantage I could feel was the height. I eventually made one with really bad form. Even though the shoes helped me, he was just way more athletic than me. And he was also already 6'8". But hey, look at the shoes can make me do this and this. Whoa. So one day it was really windy, so I took my hamster ball out to try to make it fly away. I started bouncing and kicking up in the air, seeing if the wind would take it, and then I rolled over it like this. Then I attached this paracord to it to see if it would spin off into the air. It caught a little bit of wind, but I didn't have much luck, and then I just fell. I spun it one more time really fast like this, threw it, and then got on it again and slid off. I then randomly decided to fill it up with packing peanuts again, and it felt like a beanbag. And then I just aired it all the way up. And if this video gets enough likes, I'll fill it up with helium. So one day, a couple months ago, I ambushed my friend Brendan with this super powerful water gun. And today I decided to do it even better. Brendan told me he was at the gym working out and about to finish up. I filled the water gun completely up like this, and then it was ready to go. Here's a normal shot, and here's the most powerful shot. Then I shot around my dogs to try to scare them. Then I was ready to ambush my friend Brendan. I waited until he came out. Then I got a clean hit on him like this. He tried to run, but I kept on shooting. Then he came back.
Like, what? No.
I acted like I was going to shoot him, then I just cleaned out the pavement and his car. Comment any other ideas? So one day my comments were amazed I was able to destroy a Nokia, so here I have another one that I bought for 25 cents. And when I slammed it, the back just flew off of it, so then I tried to roll my rubber band ball on it, and it was just kind of awkward because it wouldn't really go over it right. Eventually I just laid it down right here to run it over like this. We looked at it afterwards and it was pretty crushed. But I wanted it to be completely totaled, so I smashed it with this brick, and then I took his son, the younger Nokia.
So one day, after trying and failing to completely fill this inflatable dome up with water, I said we would try again and fix everything that went wrong in a part 2 if the video got enough likes. So that's what we're gonna do. This time we'll be working on completely level ground using way more flex tape. My first task inside the dome was making sure everything was completely sealed off and ready for the water. My friend got this super powerful water gun and tried to shoot me. I just continued on doing my normal dome things, and then I saw my dog. I couldn't even pet her, she was so far. But I just stayed in the dome, hour on end, waiting for the water to fill up. I also patched this leak, and my brother got me Sonic because I was hungry. A corn dog never tasted so good. And then I heard the ice cream man. My friends got me ice cream. The guy said,
"Subscribe to Dylan Ayres."
I got a bomb pop. I broke it, but it was delicious. Meanwhile, I'd been in there for 3 hours, and the water was actually expanding the dome instead of going up. The sun was coming down, and it was about to rain, so we had to halt the water. So I stopped this leak with my tongue like this, did a cannonball, and tried to ride the waves on this whale. But time was up. I unzipped the dome and tried to ride out on my whale. This happened. So one day someone commented that I should put really long pants on my kangaroo shoes to make it look like I was just super tall. But I couldn't find pants big enough, so I had to figure out how to create my own. I took 2 pairs of really big cheap jeans that I cut up to get around the kangaroo shoes like this, and duct taped it all on. I looked like some kind of weird cyborg, but it didn't look half bad. I tried to stand up with a fail, and then it was eventually up, and I felt pretty tall. I played basketball with the jeans on, and I finally looked like an NBA player. I then just took it outdoors where I looked like some type of farming cyborg. Then I just ran off into the jungle. So one day, after seeing all these videos of people blowing bubbles with Jolly Ranchers, I had to try it out for myself. I got a bunch of Jolly Ranchers, put them all on this plate, and stuck it in the microwave for like 40 seconds. I waited until it was done, and they were like sizzling. I used this straw from my water bottle, spun it around, and tried to blow, but I only got this little bubble, so I tried again. I put them back in the microwave for a little bit less time this time, until it looked really good, so I tried again. And it was actually pretty insane. The bubbles just went everywhere. I wanted to keep on trying. I also wanted to taste it, which I did. It was pretty good. I melted some more and did one final blow. So yeah, this actually works and was a lot of fun. So one day I ordered the mug that won't spill, the Mighty Mug. I tested one of these out before, and the mug is really hard to knock over. Which makes sense because it's known to be the unspillable mug. But I wanted to test how unspillable. I kept punching at it, but it wouldn't knock over. Then my brother hit it and tapped on it a bunch. We got it to fall, and then I hit it with a frying pan. And that didn't knock it over, so then I put it on top of my truck. Which did. It fell on the pavement, but still didn't spill, so I had to go to extreme. My baseball bat, which made it kind of spill. Yeah.
So one day someone commented saying I should fill this entire purple mattress grid up with all eggs. I'm only going to put about 60 eggs in there because I don't want to use that much food. I unzipped the mattress like this, and the purple grid is insanely cool. It looks like this and feels really awesome. I then opened up all the eggs and started placing them in. First one, and then a million more. Well, actually like 57 because 2 were broken, but yeah. I filled it as much as possible, and then it was time to fall on it and test them out. And the eggs did pretty good, so I got out my rubber band ball, but I couldn't even push it on, so I did another hop and then started stepping on the eggs like this, and it was crazy. They all just survived. So then I just punched one of the eggs like this and cracked it. Let me know what else I should try.
So one day I bought this $100 leaky metal boat, and I had my brother help me saw a big hole in it to take this Plexan glass and put it in with flex tape. And I got to flex taping in hopes of making my dream glass bottom boat. The front looked really solid, so we flipped it over and did the back as well. After that we let it set for a few days and then took it out to the pond. I felt ready to conquer my dreams. I pulled the boat onto the water and it seemed to be holding up pretty well. Look at it, it's amazing. I looked for some fishies inside the water but didn't see any. I wanted to travel all the way through the bridge and back, but water started leaking in the boat. But I remained calm and rowed back to shore to dump some of the water out and give it another shot. But then my brother really wanted to go, so I let him try. He did surprisingly well, rowing out very strong. And then this kayak passed him. He kept on rowing in my epic boat, and just like that, he was across, but a lot of water was getting in. So he made it back and then celebrated. So it's part 98 of my over 1,500 pound rubber band ball. I ordered more bands at the price of $230. I recruited some help and then got out at looping all 50 pounds of bands to place on the ball. And this is the longest I've gone in between rubber band ball videos. Rubber bands have been pretty difficult to get lately, but as long as you guys keep liking and supporting these videos, I'll keep on adding more bands to the rubber band ball. We finished adding bands, threw some stuff, and then aired up this hamster ball. People wanted me to try to fit the ball in it, but I couldn't, so I threw it on top. Then I stood on the ball like this and hopped off. Like for me to keep going. So one day after I made a video with these moon shoes, the company sent me a box, which contained the original moon shoes, a yo-yo ball, and these soccer boppers that I let my brother hit me in the face with. I then opened the moon shoes and was kind of confused. I had to wrap a bunch of rubber bands to it like this. I then stood on it and it was pretty stable. Here's what it all looked like. I then strapped them on my feet and headed out the door, with the help of a cane. And the shoes were a little bouncy but very hard to run in. Yeah, I'm not much faster. And here's my brother bouncing in slow-mo. And then he fell. So one day I decided I was going to beat the world record for blowing the largest bubble out of bubble gum. Here was my first attempt. And my brother's. It was pretty challenging to make my bubble any bigger. They kept on reaching the same size and then popping, so I threw some more gum in my mouth. After that fail, I had this behemoth. That popped. And another pop. Then this one got stuck in my hair. But I hadn't lost hope. I had one more awesome bubble, threw the rest of the gum in my mouth, and then gave up. And sugar crashed. So one day I wanted to fill an entire hamster ball up with Diet Coke and Mentos, but first I wanted to do some Mentos rocket. The first one shot like a rocket, and the next one just went straight up. The hamster ball took about an hour to fill, and after that it looked insane. I got out the Diet Coke syrup and this ore, then opened up the hamster ball like this and started trying to pour the box in. It was really heavy, so we struggled, but eventually got it all mixed up. Then I climbed on inside, got aired up, and swam around. It was pretty crazy looking in there. Here's me drinking it. It's pretty watered down, then going underwater, coming back up and taking some Mentos and dropping them in. They did nothing. Then we got this insane looking shot, and the full YouTube video is linked down below.
One day I decided to run a mile on these moon shoes to prove to the comments that they weren't just a waste of money and see if they actually helped me run the mile faster. And I haven't ran a mile in over a year, so this is going to be pretty hard as is. And I did notice the shoes actually gave me a little bit of bounce as I ran.
I definitely can feel the boing.
Kept on running with my brother behind me until eventually we reached almost half a mile and I was exhausted. And my lack of training was starting to hinder the accuracy of this test because I got even more exhausted and had to take another break. But we were already approaching 7 minutes and my brother left me. Kidding, I caught him. But I kept on going, and then another issue. It broke. I had to pry the bottom piece back on the shoe and keep on running. I was completely exhausted, but I had to push through to try to get a decent time, and we were finished at 15 minutes. Comment any other ideas.
So one day it was part 2 of making a working cardboard boat with a real motor. We flex sealed and great stuffed the entire cardboard boat, and the next day it looked ready to float. My friends and I loaded it up and took it out to the pond where we would test it out. The motor was spinning, we put it in the water, and I was off. After a little push from this oar, the boat was holding up amazingly well, and the engine was pushing me surprisingly really fast. I couldn't believe it. I'd made the first ever cardboard boat with an engine. Then this RC boat zoomed by me, and I conned the boat back to shore. So one day I flew all the way out to California to try In-N-Out for the very first time. There's none of these where I live, and apparently people like them. The aesthetic was very nice. I looked at the menu and decided I wanted a burger, some fries, and a milkshake. I also got a drink, and it had these cool touchless things. Here's my burger and fries. They looked really good. The milkshake was amazing. I then dipped my french fry into my shake, and it was amazing. Now it was time for the burger, and it was pretty good. In-N-Out, I'd say it lived up to the expectation.
So one day my dog looked kind of sad, so I had an idea. Get my dog a puppy. I googled puppy and then got her one. I sat him down in front of Remy, and this was her reaction. She looked pretty happy, but the puppy didn't really know what to think. Remy taught him how to eat grass like this, and then got up real close to him, but he acted pretty shy. We named the puppy Rocco, and eventually his personality started to come out a little bit more. And him and Remy started to become really good friends. Be sure to like and follow to keep up with the puppy, and go follow him. Yeah. So one day, after people kept telling me to fill this giant 30-foot balloon up with helium instead of air, I went to Party City and got 2 helium tanks to try and make my dog Remy fly. First, I aired it up with the first one, like this, and it wasn't very much helium, so I got out the second one, and I really didn't end up with that much helium, yeah. But it's super expensive, so we're going to try to make it work. I was hoping Remy would run and the balloon would fly up, but she didn't really. She ran a little bit here, and then I got scared she was going to run into a tree, so I took it and couldn't make it fly. So sad. One day, a while back, I tried to smash this giant water balloon with my giant 1,700-pound rubber band ball, but failed until the small rubber band ball took it out. Today, I have another giant water balloon, and I'm going to see what all random items I can use to try and break it. I got a llama, a watermelon, a pumpkin, and a bunch of other random junk, and then started filling the balloon all the way up like this. Eventually, the balloon was full, and it was time to test it out with the plunger, which didn't break, but it did suction. Then this llama that just broke. I then threw the pumpkin that surprisingly didn't do anything, and this tiny rubber band ball, and this water balloon. Then my watermelon didn't do anything either and was perfectly intact. The balloon was holding up really well, so I threw this hoverboard at it, and then I broke out the shovel. Yeah, like this video if you want to see me try with the giant rubber band ball again. Part 2 of surprising my girlfriend with a robotic fish because her fish died. So I got her this new fish at Target that was a robotic fish that could swim just like a real fish. I mean, look at it go. And this fish will never die. I put it in her tank, and then I told her I had a surprise.
So you know how your fish died?
Yeah.
I got you a new one.
Why is it clanking? Is it one of those robotic fish?
The good thing about this one, it can't die.
You like it? It's part 2 of trying to completely waterproof myself with waterproof spray. I had a bunch of different stuff. These shoes, this shirt, this swimsuit, and this Scrub Daddy. I soaked everything in the spray and came back 24 hours later to test it out. The Scrub Daddy still held a bit of water, and these shoes had the water beat off them like this. Then I threw the clothes on and had my brother throw water on me. And I couldn't believe it. The water ran right off both the shirt and the swimsuit like this. It was crazy. It literally just propels the water. But then it was time to put the shoes on and walk on water. I looked at the pool and stepped in. And I went under, but the swimsuit still resisted all water and was dry.
It's Rubber Band Ball Part 100. It's crazy to think 2 years ago this ball started from a watermelon and now it's literally almost 1,700 pounds. And for Part 100 I ordered a very pricey 100 pounds of rubber bands. This is the most amount of bands we've ever placed in one sitting, so I'm not looking forward to it. And if you've never seen one of these, we literally just loop all the bands because they're too small to wrap around the ball. We loop them into strands like this, and after a very long time, 3 hours to be exact, the pile disappeared, leaving us with these long strands that we then just wrap around the ball. And just like that, here's another 100 pounds being added on to the rubber band ball. Even though this ball is massive, we're still a long way from the world record. Give this video a like and I'll keep going. It's officially part 99 of my giant rubber band ball, and this is 50 more pounds of rubber bands that we're about to add on to the ball. We start by looping all the bands together like this, which is the longest part. We sit there for what feels like an eternity, just looping band after band after band until the pile is completely empty. We're almost to rubber band ball part 100, which is crazy, and for part 100 we're going to be placing 100 pounds on the rubber band ball. And we finished up these two 25-pound strands like this until the ball was finished. Weighing literally 1,600 pounds, it almost took out my tripod.
So one day, people wanted me to fill this giant water balloon up and smash it with my over 1,300-pound rubber band ball. The problem is, this ball is super hard to move. We barely got it outside. Stood on it like this, and then we began filling the water balloon up. It's supposed to be about 6 feet, but I'm not sure how big we'll be able to get it. We stopped it at a pretty decent size, and then tried to roll the rubber band ball to it. And the huge ball had to go up a slight incline, which made it really hard. We got it on the balloon, but it didn't even pop. It wasn't exactly easy to keep trying, so we just threw this little rubber band ball on it like this, and it wouldn't pop. Until eventually, I just threw it like this, and then bam, all the water went everywhere.
This is my giant 1,600-pound rubber band ball, and as many of you know, it started from, an exploding watermelon. And for over the last 2 years, it's continued on past what I ever thought it would. Weighing over 1,600 pounds, we're on our way to a world record. Well, kinda, we're still like 8,000 pounds away, but the point is, this ball's come a long way, and it's only the beginning. Just kidding, because we're gonna completely destroy it. Yeah, just kidding again. It's indestructible. But the next part is part 100, and we're adding 100 pounds of rubber bands. So stay tuned.
So one day someone said I should try to place the rubber bands evenly and see how many rubber bands I can actually fit on the watermelon without breaking it. So that's what I'm going to attempt. I have a bunch of rubber bands, and starting with the first package, we placed the entire thing on the watermelon like this. It looked really cool, all evenly spread out. Then we took the other package, which had a lot more bands, and placed it for a long time. Then the colorful bands like this. And the more bands we placed, the more we realized it wouldn't break. So we had to try to smash it with all these bands. And it was doing pretty good, so I went on the roof, and then I got scared and threw it off from here. You could hear it crack, but you couldn't really see it besides the leak. So I threw it again, hit it, and yeah.
So one day I set out to make a fully functional cardboard boat with a motor attached. I went to Walmart, got a bunch of cardboard, and then I went home to figure out how I was going to be able to support this motor on a cardboard boat. The cardboard's too flimsy, and the battery in the motor is really heavy. It will have to attach to the boat somehow like this. So I just got to work building around the motor with a bunch of layers of cardboard. You know, flipping it, taping it, adding even more cardboard, taping all that down and around, adding some more, then some more, until eventually I called it a day, and the next day I had to go get more supplies to make it even sturdier. This boat has to be completely strong enough to hold me, the battery, and the motor, so we have to make it float. We reinforced the bottom with double-sided cardboard like this, then taped that all down and the entire bottom to help waterproof it before we added the Flex Seal and the great stuff. I started by spraying the entire bottom with blue Flex Seal and then some white to make it look frosted, and then I started on the great stuff. My friend Austin then sprayed it to look like a flaming Cheeto, and all we have to do is wait for it to dry and then test it tomorrow.